Metro Supply Chain is the official sponsor of the Ask the Experts Theater at Edge 23, pioneering the future of supply chain with investments in advanced automation, robotics, and business intelligence. Metro Supply Chain delivers innovative, real world supply chain solutions that advance business. Learn more at metroscg.com.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Ask the Expert Theater, sponsored by Metro Supply Chain. Metro Supply Chain is the largest privately held logistics company in Canada. We have approximately 100 locations, including Canada, the US, and the UK. My name is Sarah, and I am the sales director for the US, and it is my absolute pleasure to introduce you to Chris.
Thanks, Sarah. Hey guys, good afternoon. Thank you everyone for ending the session with us today. Okay, was my mic good? Can you hear me? You got to talk down a little bit. That's all right. I'll bring it up a little bit. Okay, is this any better? Let me just hold it. I can probably just hold it. All right, guys. Well, we're gonna talk about top WMS facts as it pertains to 3PL. And just off the bat here, do we have any 3PLs in the audience right now? Show of hands, a handful. And just out of curiosity, 3PL or not, is anybody engaged in a current WMS project, or is it a top priority for anybody coming up in the next 6 or 12 months? A little bit? Okay, cool. Well, I'm Chris. I am based in Denver. I'm actually on the board for the Rocky Mountain Roundtable, so it's kind of fun to be here. I've sold a couple different WMS platforms, and I've been, in the space for about 10 years. I was previously in a freight brokerage role, but transitioned to technology. And Doug is my colleague.
I'm Doug Bailey. I'm the director of 3PL at Mantis. I've been focused on 3PL and logistics in that capacity about 25 years. Only working with 3PLs all the time in software, but I've been involved in the IWA, the Global Cold Chain Alliance, CSCMP, and work, and enjoyed the relationships I had in this business. But 3PL has really been my profession, and providing software solutions to that industry really for a 25-year career. The hair looked much different back then, but
between the two of us, we've been through a good number of WMS evaluations and selections. We're happy to just give you guys any information, answer any questions that you might have. So a quick background on Mantis. We've been around since the mid-90s, and we're very much an international organization. The Mantis headquarters is in Athens, Greece. We've been in the North American marketplace for about 5 years. Our parent company is the Covium Group. We're based in Hamburg, Germany, but we've got offices throughout the world. The platform, Logistics Vision Suite, LVS as we call it, is currently deployed in 30 countries. It comes out of the box in 18 languages. Worldwide, we've got over 600 clients, and they all run the same WMS platform, LVS platform. So it can really be a dynamic in terms of the verticals that it's deployed in. However, worldwide, I think about 30 to 35% are in the 3PL space. And in the U.S. right now, in North America, Canada as well, it's even higher than that. I think we're closer to 50 or 60% of our deployments here are in the 3PL space. I think most folks have some familiarity with Gartner and the Magic Quadrant. We're very pleased to be in the WMS Magic Quadrant for the 4th year in a row. And really, we think that we're as strong of a WMS solution for 3PLs as anyone in the marketplace. So, the 3PL used to be a brick and mortar play. It was come look at our, clean facility, and that was really kind of all you needed. But that's really changed to be a technology play. So, we even have our clients come to us asking us to really demo, for their prospects. The WMS is just a key piece of their technology and of their stack. So I don't know if I lost my mic here. I'll lose it again. Sure. So the 3PL game is now very technology focused, right? And so, Doug, with your experience, how can a modern WMS contribute to the growth of a 3PL?
Well, the first thing we consider is, what is a WMS? The WMS, it's the most efficient way to get the product in the building, ordered out, and then out of the building. The challenge with the 3PL is how do we most efficiently and cost effectively do that? And the ability that we can have like pre-receipt information, manage information before it arrives, that we can track the disposition of inventory at any cycle while it's in the warehouse, to provide visibility of that to anybody in the supply chain, and then to make sure when it gets ordered out that it's on time and full. That's a modern WMS. The most modern WMS gives the ability for you guys to say yes, that we know the only constant is change. And if you've got an opportunity to profitably take on some new business, you want to be able to say yes to your constituents and people in your supply chain. There's a variety of ways to do it. I'm talking about different industry verticals. You might be in food, and now you've got an opportunity to get into consumer packaged goods or electronics, or you're going to evolve that way, or you're going to take on a different vertical where we've always been pallet in, pallet out, or full truckload, or LTL. Well, hey, now we got opportunity fulfillment. We're doing returns. We're doing all these different things. So, hey, the ability to say yes, to take on those new things, but do it with some intelligence. You got to have a WMS that allows you to track your labor costs, your space optimization. You got to make sure you're billing correctly for it. You got to have integrations to different systems, and then visibility to anybody in your supply chain, particularly the executives in your company, to either give them the information they need to make executive decisions, or at least confirm, that they are making good ones. As much as anything, the ability for you guys to do that configuration, well, for one, that the configuration is there to allow you to evolve and pivot, and the only constant is change, taking on new customers, the ability to do that, but the ability that you can do that yourselves and find a vendor that hasn't built in contingencies that, hey, to do that, you got to do a custom thing and you got to come to me. The ability to avoid that and have a vendor that gives you the keys to the car, allows you to do the things yourself, and you can pivot. Those are the kind of vendors, well, believe it or not, we're one of those vendors. The secret's out.
One of the things we hear from 3PLs is the speed to which they can stand up a new client. So affirming kind of what Doug was talking about. I hear folks say, hey, we had to pass up a lucrative contract because we couldn't hit their demands to get stood up by the end of the week sometimes. These things move quickly. And so, we might have a client that can stand up a new customer in the matter of an afternoon. So I completely agree with you, Doug.
We want to help the 3PLs profitably go where they've never been going before. From my Star Trek, I'm old. I was even before Star Wars.
So, Doug, how do the 3PLs that you work with today approach the idea of value or return on investment as they're looking at the costs, which can range a bit, but how do they approach that conversation, Doug?
The big challenge for them is really maintaining current customers and then profitably attracting new ones. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, but having the right tools on the labor and the costing and the billing kind of helps you get there. But why don't you go to the next slide, Chris? Our challenge with our customers is we got to meet them where they're at. Our customers might be integrated to any number of these things before we ever show up. I mean, when we show up, they say we need a WMS, but hey, they've got an ERP system. They might have a different shipping system. They might already be using radio frequency or voice or pick to light. I mean, they're using different material handling systems. And so we've got to come in as a vendor and say, well, where are you at and where are you trying to go? What optimizations, efficiencies do you have? And what opportunities, where's the market taking you, for the next round? So for us, it really starts with meeting the customers where they're at. And then, Chris, if you go to the next slide, I want to pull up. I don't know, is everybody familiar with Gartner here, or is everybody familiar with this Gartner stratification, kind of levels? Our challenge as a vendor is we work with guys at all these levels. I mean, level 1 isn't much more than a spreadsheet, and they may have paper-based operations. I was at a place in Middletown, New York last week where it was lights out. It was more level 5. They had pick the light, pick the walls, they had all the stuff. And our customers, they tend to be, typically our 3PLs somewhere in between. They're somewhere in between where they have operators on the floor that are telling the system what they did. And so it's batch. The information isn't real time because the guy put it away and then goes to a clerk and hands the clerk a paper. hands the clerk a piece of paper to tell them what they did. Or then we've got other customers that I want the system to drive that activity, various things. And so again, our customers, they tend to range across the spectrum of all those parts, that really span this whole spectrum. But of the 3PLs that here, how many of you are automated? How many of the 3PLs here that are automated? Okay. What does that mean to you? Could you even give us an idea of the type of automation that you run?
Vertical. We have in one of our facilities, it's not a one size fits all, but we've got like a vertical storage unit. So it's goods to man kind of thing. And so that's just an example of one.
Well, that's a great example. In Mantis, I don't know, we didn't talk a lot about, we're based in Europe, we're in the Magic Quad and all that stuff. But in Europe, we've been doing, kind of that level of automation a long time. And we've been enjoying introducing that more and more to North America. But, there's automation that we talk about that can be derived even beyond the hardware stuff. I mean, there's levels, even when you start looking at the stratification level of, hey, even companies, because the contracts in our 3PL, and we all know they don't allow you. You'd like to do those things, but we don't have the long-term allow us to afford that type of thing. So you got to look to the software for automation that, and we're very complementary to the hardware, the physical material handling and the robots. We certainly support all those things, but I'm talking about the automation that you can do just within the software itself. And it could be as simple as directed put away. It could be cycle counting. It could be alerts that are happening. It can be allocations, replenishments. And so, again, the challenge that I have and Chris has every day is that we meet up with 3PLs that are family-owned and operated. We work with the large, DB Schenkers, the Kuhn and Nagels, but they span everywhere in between there. So it's our opportunity to identify, hey, what level of automation are they on? And what can we derive? Even before we start talking about some of the costly material handling stuff, what can we do to optimize just systems and processes in place where more and more the system is driving the behavior? It isn't an operator doing something, then telling the system, where you have not only the lag time of that, but then the information that's available real time to any of your constituents in that supply chain. So a big part of our business is that piece.
I think that's a good point, Doug. When you say automation, people automatically jump to the material handling. They think of AMRs and robots, but one of the most important automations from the system itself would be billing, right? How does the 3PL get paid? And how have you automated that billing piece? Something we hear over and over again. That's super, super important. So I got one more question for you, Doug. When you think of features and benefits of a modern WMS that's built specifically for a 3PL, kind of give me an idea of what are the handful of main topics that come to mind for you.
The handful starts with rapid onboarding and new customers. The ability to take on new customers as quick as you can. And our customers do it quickly. A lot of times it boils down to integrations. Integrations tend to be key. But it's the ability to rapidly take on new customers and to do it yourselves without having to be tied to a vendor, without having to be tied to, the only way to do that, Mr. 3PL, is the contingency that you got to come to us to do that integration, to give our customers the tools to do those type of things by themselves. But certainly the accurate tracking of the labor, labor, space. I mean, it's providing the visibility, it's the integration. And it's the billing piece. It's making sure that, hey, out of all this work, we've optimized the labor and space, but we got to make sure, hey, are we successfully billing for all the hard work that our folks are? If we're not capturing that billing correctly, it doesn't matter anything with the rest of the stuff that we're doing. What are we even business for? If we're worrying at the end of the month that why do we have to coop this person up for 4 days in a back room to do the billing, and we're even then not sure, is it right? It's like, so making sure it's profitable is a big deal. The adaptable, flexible nature of our software, that's a big deal about what we do. I talked about it. It's got to be adaptable and flexible to help you guys go into different industries, different verticals. Maybe you've got to get into fulfillment, returns, all the different disciplines of 3PL. But the same level of adaptability and flexibility that we got to have for our software, we got to have it for deployment options. We still have customers demanding that, yeah, a lot of that's in the cloud, but we want to be on premise. Or we want to be in the cloud. We've heard enough stories now where you can build a compelling reason for either. Well, as a vendor, we got to be able to say yes to all those things. We got to be able to sell still a perpetual license. We got competitors out there. The only way you can buy from me, well, no, you don't buy from me. You're going to subscribe. You're going to subscribe this month. You're going to pay next month, and then the next month, and there's no end to the payment, on some of these things. Well, we do subscription too, but we have some customers that say, I want to purchase it and I want to run on my own server, or I want to purchase it and run in the cloud. I mean, we offer the same kind of flexibility that we do in the software for how we deploy. How do you want to pay for it? We got to meet our customers where they're at the same way that we do on the software. We got to do that on the deployment options.
A lot of folks obviously want to be in the cloud, but maybe a vendor-controlled multi-tenant environment isn't the best option. Maybe they want to run it on their private cloud. So having dynamic options for the hosting as well is super important. And Doug, you want to just kind of finish up with how those integrations might affect your ability to kind of be involved in a 4PL network. This is one of our clients, AW2 out of Milwaukee. But
well, we need to be able to have the tools that allow our customers to open up to networks that are available to them. Like AW2, it's a 4PL. They've got 4 primary sites of their own, but they have business opportunities in other parts of the country, probably like you guys. You leverage those relationships with your friends. And there may be a centralized billing system, or maybe AW2 is the system of record that does the billing, even though it could be a different vendor out there, actually with a warehouse, their partner that's doing the 4 walls warehousing. So we've got to be able to offer the tools that allow our customers not only do their true traditional 3PL work, but allow them to integrate if they have opportunities in other part of, not only North America, but Earth, where, hey, if we only had a site in Reno, if we only had one in Newark, well, there are sites in Reno, there are sites in Newark, there are other warehouses. It's how do we make the integration together where the end customer sees one place where they can see their inventory. It doesn't matter if it's your 3PL or your partner's 3PL, and one invoice, one bill, that whether it was space that you've managed directly or a partner space that falls under your 4PL umbrella. It's the keys to that are integration for us.
And maybe you don't have, an in-house kind of 4PL network that you've vetted, but we see a lot of our clients participating in these kind of, public capacity options, like a pop capacity, where if you have extra space, you can go on there and quickly find someone that might need it, or vice versa, right? John is right here from Pop Capacity. If anybody wants to chat with him afterwards, it's a very low cost, easy to access, resource to just make sure you're maximizing your opportunities or selling your space to all the folks that are out there. And so just in summary, I just have a few thoughts here. I wanted to kind of recap what we've talked about. So understand your position on that stratification chart for Gartner. What's practical for you? Don't look at best practice. It's not, can I match Amazon? It's what efficiencies can I attain that would be a good next step in our current operation. Implementation, I just think is worth chatting about. Implementation for WMS is not an easy task. And I just think it should be said, don't underestimate it. Really understand that statement of work that you might be creating in detail, what's been sold, what's been agreed upon, the timelines, the resources needed for implementation. Starting this thing off on the right foot is super important. Identify KPIs, right? What can I see? What's easy? What's important? What can I measure? How can I measure them? If you're in an implementation, I literally think most companies don't ask the simple question of what would define success for this project. Can we have a short list? Can we have 3 things or 5 things? Is it an IT agenda? Is it an ops agenda? Just coming up with stuff like that. And some examples of those would be, the concept of how easily can we rank our clients by profitability? A lot of times, a head of operations or a C-level person will kind of know some of that stuff in their head, but how well can we show it to everybody? Can everybody be on the same page about who's profitable and why? And, tracking things to come up with that, is it a revenue only model, or are you using labor? Doug talked about labor. And just as kind of a quick side piece, when you say labor, a lot of folks ask us about labor management systems. And, hey, we think we need, a full-blown LMS with time studies to see how our pickers are moving and that kind of stuff. The reality is, if you're using the right WMS system, right, and you're using it well, it's going to track every transaction that all of your warehouse workers are doing, and you should be able to pretty easily present that as actionable data. So this is just a page from our BI suite. We call this labor level 1. But you can see also having your users logged in on a user basis, right? Not picker one, picker two, but you want to know who's doing what. You can kind of see what people are doing day to day and really track, who's doing what in the warehouse. How is our labor being utilized? It's not quite as intensive as some folks might think with a full labor management system. We talked about billing. Are we capturing everything that we're doing, and are we getting those invoices out to our client? And finally, guys, the only constant is rapid change. So choosing a system that allows you to adapt quickly, to onboard clients quickly within a day, to integrate, whatever it is, your e-commerce platforms very fast, and somebody that gives you the ability to do that, where you don't have to call your vendor and say, hey, we need ABC done. You guys have resources in-house that can accomplish this stuff in a timely manner. So.
And if I could leave you with anything, it was, we can provide you the ability to say yes, and also boldly and profitably go where your 3PL has never gone before. That's what we do.
Thank you very much, guys.